All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Dive into Real Estate Investing for Newbies.com. I have a special guest, someone that is very knowledgeable dealing with 1031 exchange. His name is Dave Foster. Dave has worked up and down the East Coast of the United States in investment real estate markets. He's a degreed accountant with a master's in management. He has taught numerous certified continuing education classes on basic and advanced 1031 strategies at local real estate associations throughout the country, and is frequent guest of real estate brokerage firms looking to train their agents to strategically use 1031 exchanges to benefit their businesses and their clients' bottom line. Dave has over 20 years experience in all phases of real estate investing, from large scale institutional and residential development to small boutique real estate investments such as historical and sensitive projects, fix and flips, rental portfolios, vacation resorts, property development and management. It's much more I can say, but I'm just excited to get into what Dave will talk to us about today. As he mentioned, 1031 is very broad. So make sure y'all get y'all pens, and welcome to the show, Dave. Thanks for being.
Thanks, Cecil. Man, I don't know if I feel experienced or just old now. But if nothing else, I got to tell you, I'm so happy to be here because there's a resonance with the title of your show. Because for years, speaking of being old, I've got teenage sons. And for years, they would walk around and they just walk by me and say, "Dad, you're such a noob." I went, "I'm not a noob. I'm your dad." I think it took me 5 years to know what that meant.
Right.
They still beat me in all those same video games, but that's okay.
Right.
It's great to be here.
Right. Great. Well, Dave, tell us where you from, and how did you get into this arena of 1031 exchange?
Yeah, the story of my business of 1031s really just follows along with the story of my life. We were living in Denver, Colorado in the mid 90s, and my wife and I were both in fairly high profile, high demand corporate careers doing our thing. And an event happened. We had this little baby boy, and all of a sudden we realized that if you've got children, there's no need for a TV. You just sit and watch the kid all day long. And we just realized that at that moment that time was going to be the most precious commodity that we had
Right.
the rest of our lives. So how could we restructure our lives so that we could still live but have the time to invest in our family? And so we spent a long time trying to figure this out. And like so many of your listeners who are just starting out their careers, we said, "Oh my gosh, real estate. It's the answer. We can start buying real estate, renting real estate. Real estate's everywhere. You can always find a way to make money in it. It's going to be a great answer." So I did what everybody does. I just went and bought a property, right? You and I were talking about this at the beginning of the show. Put one foot in front of the other and just start.
Right.
So I bought a duplex. I fixed it up and I sold it. And I made a bunch of money. That was awesome. Until I went to my accountant that fall to get ready for taxes. And it was at that point in time that I realized what I'd never known. And that was that I had a silent partner whose name was Uncle Sam. And he was going to make more on that real estate transaction than I did. And that just did not resonate with me. All of a sudden, the model did not look as good. Well, right at that moment in time, it was just such a providential occurrence. There was a huge court case that was settled at the highest levels of the courts that was going to allow a process called the 1031 exchange to be available and usable for regular, just Joe on the street investors. And what it was going to allow you to do was to sell investment real estate and, using a certain process, go and buy new investment real estate and not have to pay tax on the profits in between.